you're doing well. Maggie here. I kind of feel like we're in a flux right now, and with the closing of Joann's Fabric, which is I think is the subject of a lot of videos today, and then also what is happening with the big four patterns, the big question mark about what's happening with them. I don't know if that was a rumor because they're, if you go online, they're alive and well. I just bought 4 or 5 PDF patterns today, actually. But anyway, just the accessibility of getting fabric and things like that, and the changes are concerning. And so I'm just kind of like thinking back about sewing as an art form. It's something that I actually love. I love doing. And when you think of it, we got sewing machines. The first sewing machines were Singer sewing machines, and they started being common in homes in around 1860. When I first started sewing when I was a teenager, and it was really out of necessity. My grandmother sewed, my mother sewed. I was one of 5 children with 3 daughters, and it was cheaper for us to sew our own clothes. But today things are different. We have like fast fashion, and you have to do a cost analysis before you do a sewing project because a lot of times you can make it for cheaper than you can find it cheaper at the store. So you can get a t-shirt for $5. You can get it for cheaper than that at a resale store. So you have to just like really love sewing and value things that are handmade and kind of make it special today. It's a different ball game today. But I think the benefits of having handmade things outweigh the cost in a lot of instances. And it varies among communities and where you are. Like, I'm not always comfortable wearing my handmades to work because they don't look actually they do look handmade a lot of times because I'm not like that professional. And then I'm not sure what my coworkers' attitudes are about handmade things, but I'm definitely attached to them, and I keep them in my closet, and I don't want anything to happen to them. So how are we going to survive? How are we going to, I guess we have to get our fabric online or drive long distances, unfortunately. When I was in my 20s, I used to go to Kmart, or sometimes I would go into the city to get fabric. I have always loved looking at fabric and going to fabric stores. I used to go to a small mom and pop shop called Martin's that kind of, unfortunately, recently closed. So I'm wondering what's happening with our industry. Are we gonna have a resurgence, hopefully, or is there going to be a decline? Fast fashion is kind of like coming up on us and taking some of the wind out of us. So, but we do have marketplaces like Etsy, and hopefully they'll give us a lifeline about our passionate hobby. So what I'm doing today is I am going to be sewing a pattern, a McCalls pattern that I have had. It's a dress pattern. It's McCalls 8449. I'm actually making it into a shirt. I'm going to shorten it. It's a dress, and I'm not going to be doing the tie, and I'm going to make it into a shirt. I think that will be actually a better option for me anyway. But part of the reason is I bought the fabric at McCalls Arts and Crafts that is kind of like filling a gap since Joann's closed. They now opened a sewing aisle, and I got this cute watermelon fabric, but they actually in the store they will only sell you like 3 yards. So I need to get the outfit out of 3 yards, so it's going to be a shirt. So, and then the reason I got the fruit theme fabric is because there is a hashtag this month that's usually in the month of June called So Fruity, and I wanted to support that. So yeah, so I will bring you along, and hopefully you'll enjoy the tutorial. It does have a placket like front and a collar, so we can work on some of those skills together. All right, thank you, and have a great day, and hope you enjoy the video. Okay, first things first, I am pressing my fashion fabric here after it has been washed and shrunk, and I'm paying attention to these salvages here because they did get kind of wrinkled. That way when I lay out the pattern, the pieces will be nice and flat, and I can cut out the pattern accurately. Hi everyone, Maggie here. So I have my pattern back here. I'm ironing my pattern pieces. This is piece number 4. I have it on my ironing board, and I am going to be shortening this. I'm making it into a shirt instead of a dress. They have like several views for the dress. This is a shirt. What I'm doing is I'm trying to figure out, this is like the mini, where you cut the pattern off for a mini skirt. Now I'm trying to decide where to cut it off for a shirt. So it looks like if I take about 3 inches off the bottom, it'll be at a length that I like, because I have this is a shirt that a ready-made shirt that I have that the length is just what I like, and I'm figuring in the seam allowance here about 5/8 of an inch, and it actually takes me down practically to that mini skirt length, almost 3 inches from it. So I think if I take about that much off, and then I'm just going to have like a small hem on the bottom. So, and I will be omitting the pockets too, since it's just going to be a shirt. So yeah, so that's how I'm figuring it out. This is just a ready-made shirt that has like the similar back to it. Okay, this is my piece number 1. I will be shortening that. I'm ironing it now, and so I'm just shortening it from the shortest skirt length, 3 inches, just taking my ruler and just doing a pencil line here that I can adjust. And that'll give me just a little bit for the hem on the shirt. A small hem, 1/4 inch hem. Okay, so that's my new cutting line. Hi everyone, Maggie here. I'm working on my shirt. I have my back piece here and I'm pinning it down to the fabric. I think I'm going to make the size 26. I'm going to add like a tiny bit here in the seam allowance at the waist because I'm nervous about that fitting me. So what I'm just kind of like sizing up to what would be the size 28 here from this waist dart, which I'm assuming this is the waist, to the hip, and I'm just going to go out and add a ½ inch there when I cut it out. So we'll do that on both the front and the back, and I think that will cover me. So I'm just going to be pinning this in place. So I'll be pinning all my pattern pieces. I shortened the dress into a shirt. What I did was I measured it against the length of a shirt that I like, and which I just actually took up the shortest length. I took it up 3 inches. So now when I cut this out, I left a little space, but I think I'm going to do the size 26 because I'm kind of small in the shoulders, so I don't want to go any bigger than the 26. It actually might be too big in the shoulders and the bust, but I'm worried about how the arm size is going to fit. So that is why I'm cutting out the size 26, which is the largest size. That pin, that's a dull pin. So that is what we are going to do. We'll get it pinned. Throw that pin away, because I keep picking that pin up. Now I'm just going to fold this up, and I can just pull this neatly. So I have my fabric folded on the other side of the table. On this is my kitchen island, and I have my fabric folded. What's the remaining portion of it folded? I don't think I ironed this one as well, but alright. So we're doing the size 26. Now, oh, this is on the fold also. I've got to flip this over. This is also on the fold. I didn't realize that. It has like the placket is cut out. So I'm going to flip this over, put it on the fold. And it's trimmed 3 inches from the shortest version. That is in from the fold. This is going to be cut there. Okay, so about a 1/4 inch in from the fold. Hi everyone, Maggie here. I'm still working on pinning my pattern piece onto the fabric. I did do some little minor tweaks. What I did is at the top of the sleeve I added about 1/4 of an inch just to give me room, a little more room in the arm side. I did not make the sleeve cap any longer because I don't have wide shoulders, but I just wanted to give myself just a little extra room because in the arm side area, and then it's tapered down so that it will not affect the neckline at all, so it won't involve the any changes to the collar or the collar stand. And I also now I have pinned the plackets on here, and I'm gonna be you can't really see it, but let me just push this. They're right here. Okay, but I'm gonna be pinning the back piece, and what I decided to do for that is I cut it in half because I need two of them, and that way I can just do it on the fold, and that's going to make it a lot easier. So let me show you. Here's my, it was one piece. It was one piece, and I need let's see, I need 2 of these. So I just cut this in half, and I'm gonna put it on the fold, and that way I'll get 2 of them. So here we go. That's the way I'm gonna do that. I have my own system for laying out my patterns and getting everything, you know, everything included. So I have that. I did make a little adjustment to that in the shoulder. Same thing. I added like 1/4 of an inch there also. So we want them to be going in the same direction. So one is going to be flipped a little bit. So that's going to give me my 2 shoulder pieces, or back yoke pieces. That's what they call it, back yoke. Okay, gotta pin those, and just trying to make room for everything here. And then I have a lot of collar. I'm gonna have plenty of room though. I was worried I'd run out of fabric, but looks like I'm gonna be okay. I gotta pin those, and so, and then I have my collar pieces here. Let's see, this is the neck band. That's gonna also have to be on the fold, and I have the collar itself, so I need 2 of those. But it looks like I have plenty of room for that. And then I have the sleeve piece, which I'll have room for that in the also. So for the sleeve piece, I did extend that just a little bit on either side also to give me a little more room in the arm side. So hopefully those adjustments will help with the fit, and at least I'll have a little extra room to play with, and I can always, if need be, I can you know, take it in if it's, you know, better have it a little too big, and take it in, I guess. So just going to pin these remaining pieces here, do my cutting out, and then I can start the sewing. And luckily I have Well, I have white serger thread in my serger, which I think will be alright for finishing the seams and everything, unless I wanted to go fancy and maybe I might add some blue thread or something in the looper. Maybe I'll add some color in the loopers, pink or blue or something, just to give it a little bit of spice. So, okay. So we are making progress on this. So I just pin my pieces and I roll it up and then pin the rest. And then I unroll it and cut it out. That's the system that I have. I actually am thinking about buying a folding cutting table. So, just to make it a little bit easier. That's infringing a little bit on that. But I think I'm going to have just enough fabric to do this. So I'm glad that I was originally going to make the dress, and when I went to the store to pick up the fabric, the woman really didn't want to sell me more than 3 yards, because they have like a lot of projects. They have patterns that associate with the fabrics that they have, and they have like 3-yard projects. They're simplicity patterns, but they're made specifically for the fabrics. And so the most that they have is like 3 yards, but I'm sure I can order whatever amount I want online at the website. But I was just in the store. I wanted to do it in the store this time. Okay, so just roll this up. Okay, there. Now I can get my my collar pieces here. So I'm going to need 2 of these, and I'm going to need 2 of these stand pieces. And this is the sleeve here. I think I'm going to have just enough room for that. And yeah, it's going to be good. Oh, just enough. It looks like. I think maybe, yeah, this is close with this collar here. Let me see. Maybe this can go up here. Yeah, this should go up here where there's a little more room there. And then I can put the other one here where it kind of dips. So, and that can go there. Okay. And I don't want this to end up on the salvage, so just pin these in place. And I'll be ready to cut. Okay, I'm going to start from this end and do my cutting. This actually is a nice surface for cutting. I enjoy it. I have, I'm just going to go ahead and cut across here. I have, and cut the collar piece at the same time to make it more wieldy here. There we go. Okay. Get this out of the way. It's easier to move things around. And like I said, I have a little extra length on this piece. I have one of those cutting mats. I mean, I have a mat, a impermeable mat that I can use my rotary cutter on. But I just prefer this surface here. It's nice and smooth. It's a perfect height too. I was looking at the sewing tables, and this is a 36-inch high counter, which actually works perfectly for me. I like that. Okay, this is close to the salvage, but that's it. The brakes. It's going to be inside the salvage. Inside the seam allowance. I just made it. The fabric. Okay. Oh, let's see that. That'll be inside the seam allowance. Okay. I tend to be a little bit chintzy with the fabric. Don't want to have too much left over, because I don't want, I don't like a lot of waste. So I have like a little bit of fabric left over to just test my different things, test the tension and stuff like that. So I have to do one more of this. This is the collar piece, because I need two of them. Then what I'm gonna do is go ahead and do the notches there. Okay, let's do this neckband piece. This fabric was $4.99 a yard, which is pretty reasonable for Fabric Traditions. That's what it is, Fabric Traditions. So okay. shaping is just right. Save my little scraps. Okay. Size 26 is right here. Okay. Yep. Do these little notches here. All right. Now I have to. Okay, I'm just cutting out my second pieces, second collar pieces. I just laid my pattern pieces on top of what little fabric I had left on the fold, and I'm just cutting it out. This is the collar, it's going to be the collar stand, or collar. Okay. Alright, so I have all 4 of those. I mean, all 2 of them. Two of those. And here we go with this. This is the collar. Okay, and I'm just going to take one of these pens and put everything together, all those pieces together. And this is what I have that's left, plus this, which really doesn't amount to much. So, okay. Pin these pieces together so I don't lose any of them. And we'll cut out the rest of our pieces. Okay, I've got my roll where I have my pattern pieces that need to be cut out. So the next thing is going to be these. Oh, I do have this little bit here. So these are the yoke, bodice yokes that I have to do. Okay, but in the meantime, I have my project bag here so I don't lose anything. It starts to get messy and start to lose things, so as part of the cleanup, I have to put my pieces in here so they don't get lost. I think once I lost a sleeve on something I was working on, and that was pretty scary, but I did find it. Okay, so I'm going to cut these out. I don't want to waste anything, so I'm going to start from this end. The yoke pieces, and like I mentioned, I did add a tiny bit at the top of the shoulder to give me more room in the armhole. So, and then this is going back into the shoulder, the regular size, which is the 26. But I needed to give myself just a little room. If it's too much, I can always fix it, but things are always too tight for me in the armhole, so I got to be prepared. Okay, and I cut that on the fold. I cut the pattern piece in half, and I cut 2 on the fold. That way I get 2 pieces. Just trim this down. The width is a normal size 26 because my shoulders are, you know, I don't have wide shoulders. So that piece can go in here in the project bag. And we'll do the other one. I'm trying to keep the fabric in one piece as much as possible. It's not always easy. Little extra there. In the shoulder area. Down to the normal neck size. Okay. To undo that. My roll. Undo my roll. Okay. All right. Let's move this out of the way a little bit. That way I can move my pieces around. Actually, on this surface it's nice and slippery, so I can just move my pieces around easily, flip them around so that I'm in the best position for cutting them. And get the best result with that. Okay, that piece is done. Another back bodice piece or whatever. Okay, now we're coming here, whoops, okay, to, oops, one of the larger pieces here. Which is the front. So what I am going to do is I'm going to cut these plackets first. The plackets I only need, they only call for one of each. I have two, but I'll have an extra placket. If I mess up, I'll have an extra. So I'm just like going with the regular size 26 here for the sizing. If I mess up, I have a spare, or I can pick the best one, the one that I like the best. There we go. One more piece down and into the project bag. Okay. Now let's get this one done. hopefully I will get this done so that I can get a picture before June, the end of June. June 30th.